Madagascar, the land of a movie, big trees. Let me just check. Yes, the most competitive football match in football history. How did Madagascar went from just an island of the trees to 129th place in GDP ranking table? Let's go back to 500 BCE. I don't know what BCE stands for either. Where the first inhabitants and settlements began to happen. The people first to land on the island were Austronesian with Indonesian ethnic background. The Zimba and Vezo people were enjoying life until the 700s, a wild time because the written history of Madagascar was being written. Not only that, but Madagascar opened its borders to Omanis. Omanis! Of all the possible countries, Oman was the one to establish training posts in Madagascar. How? Well, the Omanis people gave the Malagasy people Islam, Arabic script, Arab astrology, and other cultural elements, and people, a lot of people. Yeah, many other Neo-Austrasian. I just said that word as well. Bantus, Persians, Arabs, and Indonesian people came to Madagascar, and the island became very full with different clans and ethnicities. So here's a quick summary of areas of Madagascar and what happened in it. Northwest, there was an established base for Indian Ocean operations. East Coast, the Hova, the Hova leaders, they're a part of Neo clans. Southeast, the leaders of the Firmania and Zafikasnapo, I said that horribly, I know, clans allied with the Neo-Zeo and later founded West, the Barosana dynasty founded the Sakalava kingdom in result of Zaf. Connor, why did you of all the countries, Madagascar? What? Anyways, on the east and center were repeated alliances among Hova leaders led to the Marina and Betsileo kingdoms. You know, this script has been taking ages to record, so I'm going to speedrun the rest. Ready? 3, 2, 1, go! King Andri Ampoin A expanded the Emirian Empire in 1787 to 1810. Yes, I skipped over 1,000 years of history. No, I have no idea how, okay? It just happened. Between 1880 and 1905, the French Empire annexed the island into their ever-growing empire. The local resistance sadly wasn't enough to hold those frog-eating French. Between the years of 1910 to 1920, the growth of nationalism fueled by the discontent over French rule. 1946, Madagascar becomes an overseas territory of France. Quite unfortunate. In 1947, the French surprised by suppressing the armed rebellion in the east. Thousands were killed. Not a good surprise. In 1958, Madagascar voted for autonomy. And even though the past years suggest that the French wouldn't even consider it, they actually got something better. And I'm not talking about Fortnite gift cards. 26th of June, 1960, the date where Madagascar becomes an independent nation with its first president, Philibert Ratsiranana. I'm tried, okay? In 1972, amid popular unrest, President Tsiranana dissolves government and hands the power to Army Chief Gen Gabriel. Oh, there's actually anything new to say. Oh, I spoke too soon. As a head of the provisional government, he reduced the country's ties with France, which is fair enough, but he did that in favor of links with the Soviet Union. Madagascar, come on now. I thought I was ready for you to. June 1975. You know it's important when I say the month. Lieutenant Commander Didier Ratsiraka is named the head of state after a coup. The country is renamed to Democratic Republic of Madagascar, and Mr. Ratsiraka is elected president for a seven-year term. That's nearly double the amount of terms America has. Damn. 1976, President Ratsiraka nationalizes large parts of the economy and reforms the Arema party. Over the years, he increases the state control over the economy until 1986, when he changes tack. Let that sink in. And promotes market reforms. Under the pressure of demonstrations in 1992, President Ratsiraka introduces democratic reforms and a new constitution is approved by the referendum. 1993, the year of the water rooster and the year when Madagascar produces somebody with an easy to pronounce name. Opposition leader Albert Zafy is elected president. 1995, fire destroys most of the Rova complex of royal tombs and palaces of Antananarivo shortly before it was to receive UN World Heritage Site status. Quite the way to start your presidency, Mr. Zafy. But don't worry, reconstruction work under him continues, and I'm sure that'll keep his presidency set. 1996, President Safi is impeached. Yeah, that okay, yeah. But Mr. Ratsiraka is voted back into office. Remember him? You know the guy who did the coup thing? Yep, he's back. March 2000. Thousands were left homeless after two cyclones hit the island and Mozambique. Bet you did not expect Mozambique to get into this video, but anything is possible. 2001. The Senate reopens after 29 years, completing the government framework provided for in the 1992 Constitution, which replaced the socialist revolutionary system. The new framework comprises of presidency, national embassy, Senate and Constitutional High Court. December 2001, the first round of presidential elections. Opposition candidate Mark Ravalomanana claims an outright victory and says there's no need for a second round. February 2002, Mr. Ravalomanana declares himself president after weeks of political deadlock with President Ratsiraka over the December polls. He says the government was rigged. Violence breaks out between rival protesters. April 2002. With the mess the recent elections have become, the Constitutional Court declares just Mark, as the winner of the December polls at the recount. Mr. Ratsiraka says that he will sincerely ignore the verdict. At this point, the tensions of taking curry with a knife. However, another foe decided to appear, because in June, the USA government recognizes Mr. Ravalomanana as a legitimate leader of Madagascar. You guys just have to get involved with everything, don't you? July 2002. With the recent success of Ravalomanana's party only getting stronger, Mr. Ratsiraka seeks exile in France, marking the end of the 7-month political crisis. Between February and March of 2004, tropical cyclones Lita and Gafilo hit Madagascar and thousands were left stranded. However, October of the same year, the World Bank International Monetary Fund said that they're writing off nearly half of Madagascar's debt. That's around 2 billion. March 2005. Madagascar becomes the first state to receive development aid from the US under a scheme to reward nations considered by Washington to be promoting democracy and market reforms. Yay. July of 2007, President Ravalomanana dissolves parliament after a new constitution calls for the end of autonomy for provinces. In September, President Ravalomanana's I Love Madagascar party, also known as Team, wins 106 seats out of 127 in early parliament elections. Wait, I thought you just dissolved the parliament. Oh, how did you win the seat? Well, no time to answer that, because it's time to open up a $3.3 billion nickel cobalt mining project in Tamaratabe. The mine said to be the largest of its kind. (2009) of January. Dozens are killed after a result of a violent protest in Antananarivo following the closure of the opposition TV and radio stations. Opposition leader Andry Rajoelina calls on the president to resign and proclaims himself as in charge of the country. March of the same year, Andry Rajoelina assumes power with military and high court backing after a month of violent protests. President Ravalomanana flees to South Africa. Move is The move is condemned internationally and isolates Madagascar. November 2011, newly unified government is unveiled. Opposition parties agreed to join the government with reservations. What does that mean? What do you mean reservations? Answer the question. And also, by the way, at this point, I'm around 4 months old. There you go, me. Anyways, 2014, okay, come on. Even for Madagascar standards, that's a hard name to pronounce, okay? Come on. I'm just gonna go on, Harry. Harry sworn as president after election. Good job, Harry. 2018, Supreme Court scraps electoral laws and sparked weeks of demonstrations and deaths of 2 protesters. Not the smartest idea, guys. 2019, Andry Rajoelina, the Crip guy, not Ratsiraka, the other Crip guy, wins presidential elections, defeating President Henry and his long-standing rival Margravalomanana. And that'll be it for the history of Madagascar. What does the future hold? Most likely nothing really good, but even if that's the case, and we hope it isn't, but if it is, this country showed us time after time again that no matter what, they're still going to move forward. So, good luck Madagascar, and I hope Kono you finally are happy with this video. I've been Simply PB, and do widzenia.